Today, we're going to dive into a story that, honestly, isn't just about money. It's about something way more valuable: trust. We're going to break down how one woman took the sacred bonds of community and faith and weaponized them with absolutely devastating results.
Our story takes place in Washwood Heath, a really tight-knit community where, your word is everything. It's a place where relationships and your reputation, that's the real gold. But what happens when that very currency, that trust, is expertly counterfeited and used against you? Every story of deception has its players. And in this one, we've got two central figures whose lives are about to collide in a game where only one of them actually knows the rules. And here they are. It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? On one side, you have Ghazala Din. Her whole image is meticulously crafted, subtle, always watching, blending right in. And on the other side, Aisha Begum, a mother of four, devout, trusting, really the heart of her community. One is a hunter. The other, well, she has no idea she's being stalked. So how does a predator like Ghazala even get the trust of someone like Aisha? It's not through force, not at all. It's through a pitch that is so perfectly engineered. It's designed to disarm every single one of your defenses.
Okay, just listen to these words. Seriously. Each one is like a key turning in a lock. Private scheme. For sisters only. Boom, that creates exclusivity. Halal returns? No interest? Well, that speaks directly to faith and ethics. And then the masterstroke, the killer line. No risk. It's a pitch that promises you the world and asks for only one thing in return: your blind trust.
This wasn't some random thing. It was a formula, a repeatable four-step process. First, you leverage the built-in trust of their shared faith. Second, you dangle this irresistible, almost unbelievable return on investment. Third, and this is so crucial, you create the illusion that everyone else is already in on it. And finally, you just add a little sprinkle of official-sounding jargon to make it all feel totally legit. And just like that, with that formula in place, Aisha handed over £3,000 in cash. Now, this wasn't just spare change, this was her family's savings. It was a tangible symbol of her complete and total faith in this sister. And what was she promised in return for that trust? £12,000. That's a 300% profit in just 6 months. I mean, it's a number so high it should have set off every alarm bell, but it was also just high enough to silence them with the dream of what that money could do for her family. Of course, Aisha had her doubts. I mean, her husband wasn't convinced at all, but Ghazala was ready for that. She had this whole system. She showed her WhatsApp screenshots, not of strangers, but of women Aisha knew from her own community, from the mosque, even a distant cousin. A voice note praising Ghazala was the final touch. It just created this powerful echo chamber that made the investment feel not just safe, but blessed. So the hook was set. The money was paid. And then, just as the day of that promised return was getting closer, that carefully crafted connection, it started to fray. The promises turned into a deafening silence. You can see how it played out. For the first couple of months, you get these vague reassurances. Then the excuses start rolling in. Oh, bank accounts are frozen, I'm in the hospital. Classic delay tactics, right? By month 5, nothing. Complete radio silence. And then, at the 6-month mark, when the money was supposed to be there, that's when the devastating discovery happened.
And this part just reveals a special kind of cruelty. See, Ghazala didn't block Aisha. No, instead she left her messages on red. Those 2 little ticks on WhatsApp became a form of psychological torture. They were a constant, silent message. I see your desperation, and I really don't care.
The breaking point finally came when Aisha reached out to another woman from those screenshots, and the response, after a long, painful silence, it confirmed her absolute worst fear. Oh, sister, she got me too. And in that one moment, her isolation was shattered, only to be replaced by the horrifying truth of a shared betrayal. The financial loss was just staggering, but believe me, it was only the beginning. The true cost of this scam wasn't measured in pounds. It was measured in the wreckage it left behind in people's lives. So what was this, technically speaking? What Aisha and all the others were caught in is a classic Ponzi scheme. It's basically a house of cards. Money from new victims is used to pay off the early ones, which creates this powerful illusion of success. until inevitably, the whole thing comes crashing down.
And Ghazala's operation was a textbook example. She used the mosque as her fishing ground. She exploited community WhatsApp groups for all they were worth. She even had a couple of accomplices, paid on commission, who acted as her cheerleaders, vouching for the scheme and luring in their own friends and family. It was a network built entirely on exploiting trust.
The damage spread so fast, and the first casualty was the trust inside Aisha's own home. Her husband's question, "You trusted her over me?" That reveals a wound that's so much deeper than just a financial one. It's a crack in the very foundation of their marriage. And the ripple effect is just heartbreaking. Her young son's innocent question, "Are we poor now?" It cuts right to the core of the family's new reality. I mean, how do you even explain a betrayal like this to a child? The loss of security, the fear, it's a burden the whole family now has to carry.
So you might be wondering, why didn't more people speak out sooner? Well, because shame is an incredibly powerful tool for any scammer. The victims felt foolish, they felt gullible, they blamed themselves. And that silence is exactly what allowed Ghazala to keep on going, completely unchecked.
And this brings us to what is, for me, the most frustrating part of this entire story. While the victims' lives were falling apart, the person responsible faced absolutely no consequences. Justice, it seems, was just not on the agenda. Just look at this. The comparison couldn't be more stark. For Aisha, the victim, her world collapsed. Her marriage was strained. She felt totally ostracized from her own community, haunted by nightmares. And for Ghazala, the scammer, she was unbothered. She was even heard laughing about it. She used the stolen money to buy her son a luxury car, and then she simply moved on to her next targets. And, she did move on. By the time the whispers in the community grew loud enough to be a real threat, Ghazala had already rebranded. A new scheme, a new name, but the same con. Targeting the exact same type of vulnerable people. The lonely, the devout, the quietly desperate. Which leaves us with this final, really unsettling thought. We started with this idea that in communities like this, trust is currency. But when that's the case, how do you protect yourself? How do you spot a counterfeit person when their deception is wrapped up in the very fabric of faith, friendship, and sisterhood?